significance. Guys, I am so excited about this show. I don't want to take any time away from this because this show is coming all the way from Saskatchewan. Guys, this young mother I found on Instagram. We were supposed to record in 21, but things changed. But she's here this evening to share her amazing story. And with no further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Kyla Thomson. Hi, Kyla.
Hi, Joy. Hi, everybody.
Hi, sweetheart. And how are you?
I'm doing well today. Yes, doing very well.
That's good. Why do you say today? Why do you say today?
You know, I like to remind myself that sometimes I need to take things day by day, little bit by little bit, not jump ahead. If I was to say how I've been in the last year, I might say something very different than well.
Well, you know something, hon? Throughout our pre-interview, Kyla, I literally not only love what you post on Instagram and the great influence that you've been doing with your amazing family and your amazing daughter. I have to say family as well as your daughter, which we're going to meet. But you're a powerhouse. You are a powerhouse. So I know about you, but I'd like to introduce yourself, beautiful lady, to our viewers, please.
Oh, powerhouse. Okay, how do I? Well, I'll start. I am Canadian, so I'm up here in Saskatchewan, Canada, born and raised, and very, very proud Canadian. I love my home. I love where we are. We're in, small city, Saskatchewan, and my husband and I, we have an acreage here in Saskatchewan, and we farm trees here. And I was also mentioning I became a teacher. And so before I had Bella, that's what I was doing. That was our life. And it was really good. And it still is amazing, just very different. So when Bella was born in 2013, we were unaware of all the rare conditions she would be born with. And so from December 6, 2013 and on, I became a medical mom. And my life and my family's life changed quite dramatically after that. As we had spent the first 2 years of Bella's life straight in hospital, and post long-term hospital stay came more hospital stays, and eventually, if we fast forward to where we are today, Bella is listed for a bowel transplant. So she's in bowel failure and loss of vascular access and listed for a bowel transplant.
Wow. Wow. Okay. You don't mind me asking you these questions because you did such a powerful pre-interview with me. Like you just spoke from your heart. You don't hold anything back. So when you found out that she had so many, she has three diseases, right? Three.
Yeah.
Three of them. Could you list them off for me again, please?
Yeah. So two of the conditions diseases she was born with are SCID, so severe combined immune deficiency.
Okay.
And that in itself means she was born with no immune system.
Wow.
Nothing to fight the common cold. She was also born with a very rare bowel disease that is called Hirschsprung's. Hers turned into long segment Hirschsprung's, meaning it affected her entire colon. That is gone. She has major issues with the function of her remaining small bowel, to the point that they are testing her for a disease that may have never been seen before, and hence her bowel failure. So she has an ostomy and a G2 button and a central line that's permanent. And her third condition is dwarfism. She has a form of dwarfism.
Okay. And how old is your beautiful girl?
She's 8 right now and 9 in about a month.
Wow, my gosh. Oh my Lord, sweetheart. You know why? And I can actually say that I love you because when I look at my own life and my own health issues, and we discussed it, like, in and out of hospitals, it's been a struggle for me just keeping my own mental state, in action. But when you have a little one, your own child, how do you go from day to day, hon? Because mothers, mothers are going to watch this and you're going to inspire them with your courage and your honesty. But what keeps you, how do you handle it, sweetie? I don't know what other words to say, but how do you get through?
Yeah, I really have learned over the years to lean on others and ask for help, as hard as it is. I I've been very I of course I love seeking knowledge. I'm very independent. I trust God, and sometimes I am just so broken down with exhaustion that I, for some reason or other, forget to reach out. Like, I just don't reach out. And you got to find the strength to do that. You got to find the courage to do that for yourself.
Yes.
Um, and just speaking from experience, you can get to the point where you think you just need a break. You just need a small break or a small minute to get through whatever the situation is with your child or children. Um,
Yes.
but sometimes you just don't, and you got to be able to ask for help in those moments. When you I guess I'm speaking from a place where I always thought I would catch a break. Oh, we'll just get through this, we'll catch a break. We'll just get through this, we'll catch a break. That didn't happen for, oh gosh, close to 3 years before I feel like I actually had a minute to breathe after Bella was born, with everything that accumulated medically after she was born. Um, and so it really, really forced me to sit back and say, okay, if I'm going to be able to handle this, I need to be able to ask for help and look and find the energy to look for support. Sometimes it's not going to just, you're not, some people don't have a large family. Some people don't have a lot of friends, or they're like a medical mom, they're taken out of their home and they're put in a hospital miles away from their home and they have nobody.
That's right.
So you got to find a way to look for help and find who can help you.
Now, wow. Yeah, that is very true. Because as many times for me going through my own thing, my husband was a great support, Sean, and our son Michael was a little guy at the time when I was going through a lot. But I can totally understand, but having a child. But I want to just reel it back a little minute. You had to change your own profession, right? Because you were not doing what you're doing now. So can you share that with
Yeah.
the viewers? How you had to just remodelize your whole entire life, your career?
Yeah, it definitely it happened over the course of a few years for sure, but it started with regular mat leave from teaching, and by the second year of Bella not being able to come out of hospital, and the extent of her medical care involved me, if I wanted to take my baby home and have her live somewhat of a normal life outside of hospital, I had to learn to be her nurse, her medical mom, so she could get the medical care she needed at home out of hospital. And the amount that she ended up needing and still does today, it is near impossible to hold a full-time job outside of my house.
Right.
So I got to a point, when Bella was about 5, 6, where I got back into, after about year 5, I got back into sub teaching, and then I actually got back into full-time teaching.
Hmm.
That was the year that Bella got listed for a bowel transplant, and things fell back down to, no, I can't hold my job and care for her needs as well. And so, my husband and I worked together. We had some backup plans with our tree business, because we grow and we sell trees, and he's like, okay, we're gonna grow this business because I know that you might not be able to go back to teaching full time. And it was quite the grieving period. I had to let go of my teaching career. um I knew there was just so many moments in Bella's medical journey where I had to jump and run. And
Yes.
whether it was a medical flight because she was septic, or a surgery that she needed right now and we had to drive hundreds of miles away to the closest children's hospital, it was very difficult to continue teaching. um, And so I had to give that up for her medical care.
Okay. And what is
Yeah.
your career? What is it that you do now too? You do something else?
Yeah. So after Bella became listed for a bowel transplant and
Yes.
everything that came with that, I fell into content creatorship,
Uh-huh.
being a content creator, and you know, it's like it's so hard to explain, but um, before that, my husband and I also had another plan that we wanted to start selling merch, right? Like, so we created our Bella Brave logo, and well, because Bella created
Yes.
it with us, and we were like, okay, well, this is something we can do. We can sell some merch. And while we were working on that, we like became, it's weird to say, but it's like we became TikTok famous. We just,
Yes.
our followers grew. And that's a whole story in itself. But I remembered thinking like, I have a platform now where my voice is heard by millions of people.
Mhm.
I had a minute and I sat down. I'm like, how can I use this for good? How can I use this to support my family and keep it fun at the same time? And I'm happy to say that I did find a way to do that. And I hope it continues to flourish and provide income through the partnerships that we have through my social media.
And it will, Bella. I mean, my God, Bella, Kyla. See, folks, I got so entrenched in the story. Oh my God, sweetheart, we're gonna go to break. We'll be right back, guys, with Kyla Thomson. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Unwritten Stories of Significance with the beautiful Kyla Thomson. Kyla, amazing. Hi. Amazing, amazing first segment, honey. Just amazing. You share so much from the heart and you're such a great storyteller. But I want you to share what your daily routine is with your beautiful daughter, Bella. Like, we know what she's struggling with, what she continues to struggle with, but what is it like for a powerful woman and mother like yourself having your daughter dealing with such challenging issues on a daily basis? So when you get up, so people can understand what your routine is.
Yeah, it's quite hard. And as you ask that question, I think to myself, oh Matt, like there's so many people after I explain this, they're gonna be like, well, why don't you set up home care, set up respite, get, a nurse to come in for home care? And I'm like, honestly, we've tried and we've thought of that. And it's really like when you hear about everything I have to do in a day for Bella and how it's taken me away from my career as a teacher, it's draining is a bad word, but it would be more exhausting to have to train someone else to do what I do when I could just do it.
Right.
And of course, my husband is trained, but he's holding his 9 to 5 job outside of the house, and so he doesn't get in the groove like I do every single day. So I still have to give him some reminders, but to train a third person would be a lot of work. So, and there's just some things that are just too difficult for Bella and someone she doesn't know to come into the house and do everything that I'm doing.
Right.
So the way we start the day is a lot of preparation. A lot of what she needs often involves phone calls. So I have, all of her specialists in Calgary and Toronto on my phone, and I can call and talk to them directly when I need to, as well as her local pediatrician and her local nurses that we see weekly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. We're in the
Wow.
hospital. Yeah. So we start the day with, if we want to get to school on time, when I get up in the morning or when she gets up in the morning, and she's hooked up to IVs, I have to unlock IVs, take her off of IVs and lock her line. So I have to draw up the solution for that, lock her line. She also has an overnight ostomy drainage pouch that I have to unhook and measure and drain. She's so tiny with her dwarfism that fluids affect her very much. And because she doesn't have very much bowel left, If she were to get sick like you or I, it would
Right.
affect her. It would affect her 10 times worse because
Can I can I interject for a second?
yeah,
So through COVID, how did you deal with that? Like you said, like she has no immune system. So how was that? How did you deal with that? And then we can go back into the story.
yeah. Like she had a bone marrow transplant for having SCID. So that gave her a new immune system, but there was complications. So
Okay.
her virus fighting cells are 100%, but
Okay.
her infection fighting cells are not. And so she receives what we call like IVIG, which is an immune booster infusion every month, and
Okay.
that helps keep her protected. So viruses are quite okay for her to deal with. It's more the flu, like the stomach gastro bugs that can
Oh,
cause anything that causes vomiting or diarrhea can affect her fluid imbalance really badly in her case. And hence why she needs IV fluids to survive.
okay.
Yeah. So she has an ostomy, and her ostomy is like liquid stool because she doesn't have any bowel left. And so we're draining that in the morning and measuring it, because if she were to get a bug, then we'll always know what her baseline is, and the amount that she drains is determined on how many IV fluids I have to give her, how many more mils. So I always have to measure her stool, and I always have to measure her urine all day, every day, and overnight.
Wow.
So there's calculations I'm writing down constantly,
Hmm.
measuring constantly, and then I need to get her freeze cream on because she has an injection in the morning, and I leave 20 minutes for that cream to sit, give her injection. Her injection in the morning is her blood thinner. Because of all the surgeries she's had 24 total. And a lot of them have had to do with her vascular access, like her permanent IVs
Right.
that have left clots and scarring. And so she needs a blood thinner injection every morning for that treatment. So I draw up her injection and give her that every morning. She also requires numerous medications and supplements. So, and they're timed. So in the morning, I draw them all up. And if I were to lay them all out on the table, there would be, oh gosh, I haven't counted in a while, but um, 10 to 15 syringes of medication.
Oh,
Um, and some of them can be given at the same time. Some of them have to give an hour apart or 2 hours apart, and at certain times in the day. So I try to get the ones that she needs in the morning before school done. Then there's more she needs after school, and then there's more she needs close to bedtime. And thankfully, she has an RN nurse at her school, and we are best of friends. And she is able to care for her at school if needed. But generally, in a school day, she's just needs maybe a couple ostomy empties that her nurse at school can handle. And then at nighttime, if she needs a full ostomy change, we have a bath or a shower and we change that
yeah.
device. And then her evening injection, and her evening medications. And then every other night right now, she's getting hooked up to IV fluids. So I think
Wow.
that's everything.
Wow. That's why I
Yeah.
wanted you to share that story, because they can hear of what she's challenged with and what she deals with every single day. But drawing the story out, like outlining it like that, gives it a reality check.
Yeah.
Um,
And I don't post a lot of that on social media because I just don't have the time. In that moment, I'm making her medications and she needs them. I'm not always able to pick up my phone and show people how I give her meds or when she gets her meds. Um, and especially not during her injections. So it's actually, unless I explain it like this, it's a lot of people online don't see that part of that extent of our day.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, hon. When I listen to you, it kind of makes me realize that's why I love these stories, because it gives us again a reality check. It lets us know that there is others out there dealing with a bigger picture. But because the title is Powerful Women, and mothers out there or women in general who go through life, when you look at your own self, what helps Kyla Thomson go from day to day? Like, my God, like I get up and I do my thing and have my oatmeal, but holy shoot. What keeps you in there, Kyla? This is your moment now to share with women. What keeps you in there? Like,
You know, I thank God every day for what he does for me. And
yes,
I thank my mom for the way she raised me. My mom raised me in faith, and I will always give thanks and praise to that, because if I didn't have my faith, I'm really not sure how I would get through day to day.
yeah,
There's just some days where anything in the physical world doesn't help, and you
mm,
just need to sit in his presence and hope for his peace to take away the pain, or take away, that discouraging day and the feelings that come with it.
yeah,
And honestly, that's really how I get through some days. And I mean, amazing friends, close friends and family, amazing doctors and nurses, and my online community are all the cherries on top of
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yes, wow. And your parents. Talk
Yeah.
about your parents from it, your mom and your
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah. So my mom and my dad are absolutely amazing. I love them. I have older parents. My mom didn't have me till she was 30 or 31. So
Okay.
my mom is actually 71 and my dad is 78.
Wow.
And this, COVID was rough. Like, we kind of had like the season of COVID, and then in the last year, my mom and dad have both been struggling a lot. And so I've found it really hard to um it's almost like I've become a second and a third caregiver in a sense, because my mom has gone through a battery of tests trying to figure out where her severe memory loss has come from.
Mm,
That could be Alzheimer's dementia, but they're still trying to figure out exactly what it is. So I only have one sister. My sister is in the same city as me, and her and I are trying to help our parents out as best we can, but it's a lot.
yes.
So, I'm worried about, I'm worried about that day that might come where my mom might not know who I am when I come to her door.
Yes.
Um, and my dad recently had a quadruple bypass because he had a heart attack and survived and needed the bypass surgery. So he's recovering from that. So
Mm,
it's been quite a year for my parents. Yeah.
wow. You're wow, powerful woman is the right theme for this show. That's for sure, honey. That is for sure. Um, I love this quote that you left with me, and I gotta read it to the viewers. Let her sleep, for when she wakes, she will move mountains. Like,
That was
what?
yeah. I I don't know. The first time I heard that quote, it was from a friend of mine, and I'm still not sure where it came from, other than when she presented me with it. But um it it just touches my heart because it's so Bella. She not only is she a good sleeper, but when she wakes up and puts her feet on the ground, she moves the mountains. She just does. And her physicians and her specialists, you know, these world renowned specialists in their departments have actually said to me, her survival is a miracle. She's gone through things that they don't understand how she made it out alive. And
Mm.
those are some big mountains.
Yes, yes, hon. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Because when I watched her on Instagram, and I watch her all the time, and I watch you with your encouraging stuff, um, do you have any outlet? I don't want to lose this because we only got around 2 minutes left, but do you have any outlet to yourself just to do anything? Like, just enjoy yourself, Kyla. Like, do you have any time? If you can just share that in 1 minute before we go.
Yes, I do. I often, um I take time for myself, even if it's just like 5 or 10 minutes in the day, to choose something that just makes me feel calm.
Okay.
Whether it's sitting with my hot coffee, whether it's calling my mom, whether it's just thinking about the positives that week and not letting the negative take over me. Um, that's my and honestly, calling my friends on the phone, my friends that are nurses,
Mhm.
and they always have an open ear, and they're my best outlet.
So that's what you said at the beginning of the show too, is reaching out.
Yeah,
The importance of reaching out. And I have to
yeah.
ask you this when it got 45 seconds. I always people say, why are you telling me the time? Because I don't want to miss it. When you look in the mirror, pretty girl, what do you see?
I see a powerful woman. I've been told I can do things that I think are impossible, and I will just use the power in me from God to get them done. If it is His will, it'll be done. And I think that's where my power comes from.
Wow. And you got a really, really strong faith, don't you?
Yeah.
And you're not shy of sharing that, are you?
No, not at
Why?
all.
Why?
It's how I was raised, and even throughout my life, it's it's served me well, and I've seen what miracles do. I've seen proof. Like, if people are the type of people that need proof, it's just look at my daughter.
Thank you, sweetheart. On that note, we're gonna come back in another episode with yourself and share this beautiful daughter and angel. And I want to thank you, Kyla, so much.
Thank you.